Hello everyone, my name is Lori Lytle. I will be hosting our Introduction to Edge. What we'll be doing is jumping directly into Edge as soon as we start, and we're going to create a total cost analysis for a purchase transaction. We'll create an FHA report as well as FHA product as well as conventional product. So we'll be able to take those products. I'm going to show you how to develop fee templates and product templates. And we'll go through the whole process on creating a loan. What I'd like to do is have you follow along with me. I have dropped the Edge link into our chat box. So if you go ahead and if you have two monitors, that's a great way of learning Edge. Put up Edge on one monitor, the GoToMeeting on the other, and follow along. If you're only on one screen, that's fine. Go ahead and log into Edge in one of your tabs. As we're going through Edge, I'll be reviewing that screen, so it'll be easy for you to follow. And if you can, if you go into the chat, what we'll be doing is we'll be providing questions. If you open up your question bar in GoToMeeting, any type of question you have, go ahead and post it in there and we'll respond to it. If we don't respond to it during this time period, we will be following up with you. I'll also be dropping links into the chat box that you could grab. And what I would like to do now is if you're going to be following along with Edge and doing data input, go ahead and drop in the chat box or in the question box that you're going to be following along. So I'll be able to see how many will be doing this. At the end, I'll also ask you to send me the link to your report so I can review the report and provide any feedback to you. Okay, that's great. Perfect. Okay, so now that we have our Edge up, so if you go ahead and grab that link from the chat box, bring up Edge into your web page, and now go ahead and log in. So, okay, and as soon as we log into Edge, to be able to show you, this is our home screen. In the upper section, this is where you create the consumer reports. These are the total cost analysis as well as the rent versus own. In the lower section here, we have our partner-facing reports. These are the open house flyers and the seller buy-down. Through the process, when we're creating our report, we'll be up in the client-facing reports. We're creating the TCA. The functions that we are using through this TCA will also work the same in our partner report as well as the rent versus own. So this is a good structure base to start the learning process. Okay, up at the top here, first I want to identify our help button. So if you click on that help button, it will open up into a new tab. And this is our knowledge base. We have very many video tutorials for you on how to create different reports or finding out different areas and the different tools we have within Edge. So with that, just to point out, we have up in this area how to create total cost analysis for purchase and refi. You have the reinvestment strategies down here as well as the search engine. So if you have a question, you can always put MI, press return. It provides you the video tutorials that are talking about MI. So just to let you know, we do have our help here besides that support at mortgagecoach.com. So now if we go over to our Edge, back to our Edge tab, we're going to start a new report. We're going to go ahead and develop our fee and templates through this report. When we're done, we're going to go ahead and go over to our settings, and I could show you how you could take those fee templates and product templates and copy them and develop a good base for you to make it easy for you to go through Edge and develop a report rather quickly. Just one moment. Okay, so if I was told that my screen wasn't moving, so if you haven't logged into Edge, we're in Edge now. And what I had done is go to the Help menu right here that brought up our knowledge base. And as just to review it real quick, this is our client-facing reports. These are our partner-facing reports. To start our new report, go ahead and click on New Client, and we'll start the process of creating a report. When you go through the wizard, we'll just have to go through these screens. The way I'm going to show you today's Edge and how to create a report, we're just doing a basic report. And the way Edge was designed was to be able to be on the phone with the consumer and gather all this data before you go into the LOS, so you don't have to use that notepad that a lot of people use. But what I'm going to do is show you just minimum fields that are required to be able to create the report. So this way you can get in and out of Edge rather quickly creating the report. So let's go in, and the first thing you want to do is we're going to go ahead and put in a first name and last name. If you have a middle initial, that's fine too. So I'll put in John Sample. Going through if you want to put in the phone number, that's great. Again, it's a data capturing field. You'll notice there's fields in red as we go through the process. Those are the fields we need data keyed into those data fields. Coming through, if you wanted to do a rent versus own report, you would click on this button and it will take you through creating that rent versus own. We're going to keep it on own, which will develop our TCA product. Coming down to the partner email field, what this will do is provide you a second email alert to go to another person. So either if you're working with a realtor partner, they want to be able to see the email alert. Oh, I'll slow down, Bill. Sorry about that. If you want to have them receive it, you would just put in that email address here. If you have a loan officer's assistant, you could go ahead and put their email address here. They'll also receive the email alert besides you. So let's go ahead and I'm just going to put in support@mortgagecoach.com. So this way I'll be able to show you when we get to our presentation screen how you'll be able to set that email alert for that second person. I also encourage you to put in a friendly name. And with this, it's an identifier to the product or to this report itself. Potentially, I could create more than one report for John. We can use a copy, so you'll be able to take John's information and not have to key it in the second time. So this friendly name field would be able to identify which report it is. So in this particular case, I'm putting the word purchase. Maybe it was an investment property or some kind of identifier you want to go ahead and put in this field. Once we have keyed in this information, just to point out this marketing button, it's if you're creating a marketing report. It's just to provide a report headline here. All the rest of the data in Edge, creating a report, is the exact same. So let's go ahead and put it back as individual. And now let's move on to the next screen. In the goals area, capturing the client's goals, again, a lot of these fields are that data collection that we were talking about on that phone conversation. Really, the only field you need to mark is purchase a new home. When you're doing a refinance, you can go ahead and mark this button here. But in this particular case, what it's doing is marking it a purchase. We're removing that current mortgage screen from the data input wizard along the way. So once we mark purchase new home, we're going to advance our screen, and we're coming to our assumptions. In the screen, you'll notice that there is only one red field here. This is for your appraisal, the property value. Let's go ahead in this particular report, let's key in $250,000. This amount will be also used for our LTV cutoff for mortgage insurance, so always remember to put that amount in here. I also want to point out this note section over to the right here. In this note section, you could put any type of notes to be able to provide information about that borrower. What I'm doing, I'm also going to drop this link in the chat box. I want to be able to provide you our mobile app links. So with these links, you'd be able to download, depending on what your device is, download and be able to use our Mortgage Coach app as a viewer. What I've done is taken those. Why don't you go ahead and copy and paste those and put them in the notes section, one, to get the feel of what that field is, and two, you have those links for future reports. You'll be able to copy and pull them down if you want to be able to use those to drop in an email for your consumer. Okay. As we advance our screen, you notice our notes carry with us. Those notes will carry from screen to screen, so you'll be able to view any type of notes. And remember, these notes will not be on the report. They're just for your internal and for your use only. Now, going through our affordability screen, again, a lot of these fields are for data collection. When you're doing a rent versus own, you want to go ahead and put in the tax bracket. And I'm going to go ahead and put in a savings balance of, I'll put in $20,000. And I'm going to put a really low interest rate because it is a savings account. They're not really earning too much money off that. And when we get to the report, I'll show you in the Reinvestment Strategy screen where this dollar amount carries over. If you do just want to be able to point out a couple items, if you do have tax credits, the MCC tax credit, you could go ahead. We do provide that information on the report. If you're unfamiliar with that type of product, you could go ahead and email us at support and go ahead and we'll provide you more information. Okay, Bill, I see that you were mentioning that the links didn't copy and paste out of the chat box. If they're not copy and paste, go ahead and email us at support afterwards, and we'll go ahead and provide those links to you. Okay. Again, the current annual gross income, if you wanted to put that information in, you could go ahead and do it. What this would do is when we get to our report itself and their products, it will provide us the debt-to-income ratio. So if you wanted to see that, you go ahead and put that information in. I'm not going to fill any of the other information in. Again, it's just data collection fields, and it doesn't appear on the report. So now let's move on. Again, another data collection field, because I'm showing you the quickest way to go through Edge and create a report. I'm not filling in this information. I'm just going to go ahead and move on directly. So now we're starting our products. So with our products, the first product we're going to do is provide FHA product. So let's go ahead. We have a title to our product. Let's just enter FHA, and I'm going to put in 3.5% down. Whoops, let's put in that percent sign. We do have a limitation on the title of our reports. You want to keep them to a minimum of 12 characters. Anything larger would push the reports off the screen. You would just need to modify this to 12 characters. If you're doing a refinance, you would mark it as yes for a refinance. That does the toggle for our cash to close, cash out. Keeping it as no, we'll go ahead and we'll have it as cash to close. Now with the add product templates, this is where you'll see that I have a few product templates keyed in, but I don't want to use these as of this point because I want to show you how to develop these product templates. At the end, once we've modified our product templates, I will then show you how to be able to copy them, and then we'll go into Edge and I'll show you how quick it is to be able to use those templates. You'll be able to get through this whole report rather quickly. So coming through on my FHA, I'm going to go ahead and put in 3.5% down. You'll see the 250,000 did carry over from my appraised value, and that would be my purchase price. If down payment, you'll see buttons like this with the little percent sign. All that is doing is toggling between the percentage field or the dollar field. So depending on what you want to key in, you would identify it by just toggling back and forth. So let's go ahead and put in 3.5% down, and you'll see as soon as you tab off that field, it will calculate the down payment and provide you that base loan amount for the file. Let's go ahead and put in a 4.5% interest rate and a term of 360 months. When we create our template, we're going to create it where the 3.5% will default as well as the term. And you also want to mark this, is this a VA or FHA? You want to mark this yes. Just one moment, I lost my screen. Just one moment, everyone, I'll be right back. Hello? Okay. Sorry, everybody. Let's go ahead and get back into Edge here. Okay, just one moment. Let me pull this to the other side of my screen. Okay, now with this report, I was pulled out of it. So to go back in and access a report you've already done, just go ahead and I'm going to click on that report. And I'm just going to go ahead, and I was starting my product. So what you can do, if you'll see how my mouse moves, anytime you hold it over right to the base, it will show you all the various screens you could choose. So what I'm going to do is go to my products and click on it. And let me go ahead, and because I was in the screen when my computer closed on me, it didn't save my data. Anytime data is saved, if you go from left to right, that's when the data is saved. So let's go ahead. I'm going to put in my title again. Down. I'm going to keep it no, and I want to mark it as FHA. Let's key in the 3.5% down, 4.5% interest rate, and a 360 term. So once we have this information keyed in, as soon as we advance the screen, you'll be able to see we have our fees. And this is where we're going to go ahead and enter our closing cost details. Down at the base here, you'll see the upfront MIP field. This field is triggered by that yes or no FHA button. So if you miss it, most likely you didn't have the yes for FHA. I'm going to go ahead and put in that % sign and key in that 1.75 for the upfront MI factor. You'll see how the system calculates that dollar amount, and I want to add it to the MI to the loan amount. This field will be as part of our default, so once you have that in here, this will automatically calculate. So again, it speeds up that process. If per diem interest, the prepaid interest days, go ahead and put in what your company normally provides as a quote. Usually it's about 15 days. I've seen some companies use 30, but go ahead and put what figure you want in that field. You'll notice I place my mouse over that field and it provides me that dollar figure. Now let's go ahead and key in our fees. There's two processes of keying in fees. You could do it as a lump sum. So say if I knew my APR fees were $1,500, I could go ahead and indicate so there. If you have points, you go ahead and put in a point here. If you have a credit, you can also use that field as a negative, and it would put a 1 point amount and use it as a credit. So there's $24.54 there. So there's those two fields. Your prepaid escrow, these are your reserves. So put in whatever amount there, and then your non-APR costs. And if you had a contribution, you would fill it in at this point. So this is how you do it as a lump sum. If you're doing a refinance and wanted those fees added to the loan amount, you would just mark these boxes here to do so. Now what I want to do is show you how to create a fee template. And what this will do is allow you to provide a fee template that is similar, and you'll itemize your fees. It's similar to a closing cost. So let's go ahead, click on that link. The best way to create a fee template is to be able to pull a fee sheet from your LOS system. Usually those fee sheets provide you the description of the fee, the dollar amount, and if that fee is an APR fee or not. You also, if you originate in multiple states, you could create fee templates and use this testing process and identify the state here. And then let me go ahead and show you the link here. You'll notice that I already have some fee templates here, but again, I'm not going to use those. Let's go ahead and start from scratch. So we have two buttons here that will allow us to develop our fee templates. The first one I'm going to do is add fee. Go ahead and click on that a couple times. And you'll see the drop downs placed in this area here. What they do is in the fee descriptions, if you click on that down arrow, you'll be able to see fees that we automatically have defaulted in our system. These are fee descriptions that follow a HUD 1. You'll also be able to do, if you come in here say I want a processing fee. If you just type the letter P, it drops you down in the alphabetical order, so then you could just go ahead and grab that processing fee. Now what you wanted, whoops, I didn't click the right one, processing fee. And now go ahead and click on $450, put in that dollar amount. Sorry guys, I don't know why this is not taking my processing fee. Okay, there we go. So we have our processing fee in here. I put in that dollar amount. A processing fee is usually an APR item, so I want to make sure I have that marked. Dan, to pull a fee sheet from your LOS, usually what people do is just go into a file, and usually there's a place where you can see the itemization, the fee sheet, and then they print that copy and use that as their guidelines to key in their fees here. That's usually what they do. Okay. Then going through the process, you could go ahead and add more fees. So let's go ahead and add an appraisal fee. And go ahead and put in that dollar amount here. An appraisal fee. The appraisal fee is usually a non-APR item. And with that, you just go ahead and leave that unmarked. And then we'll move on and provide you, go and put different fees here. So say if you had a credit report, I type the letter C, let's choose credit report and put in that dollar amount here. Whoops, $150 for a credit report is a little high. I also want to identify what these boxes are over here. So we have already discussed the APR. If you're doing a refinance, go ahead and mark those fees here to add to loan amount. It's great to be able to automatically have this a template created to add those to the loan amount. I could show you really easily when we go into our settings how to copy those fee templates over and make modifications accordingly. And then the last column is our PPE, which is prepaid escrow. And you'll see our legend at the base here. And with a prepaid escrow, those are for your reserves, because in our short-term area, we do not, we only show the cost of the loan, and the prepaid escrows are not a cost for that loan. Yes, Don, after we're done with this, I'll be able to answer that question about the grayed out fields. So you can continue on based on your fee sheet, just adding the amounts, continuing going through this process. I'm going to just add a few more. Now what I want to do, if you don't see your fee descriptions in Add Fee, we have an Add Custom Fee here. So if you want to go ahead and put in a specific description for your fee, you could go ahead and do that. You don't need to follow the descriptions that we have. So you would just put in whatever fee name here. So if you want to follow along, you could put an escrow fee like I did, or go ahead and identify a fee that you're familiar with that is in your system. And make sure if it's an APR, go ahead and mark APR here. If it's a prepaid escrow, go ahead and mark it in this area. I do know if you're doing a prepaid escrow, if you're using the percentage fields, you want to go ahead and depend if it's a purchase, keep it on the loan amount. If it's a refi, or loan amount is for a refi, property value is for a purchase. I'm going to go ahead and press OK, and you'll see now that I have my fee here. That fee is also now in the base of our fee descriptions for you to pull in the future reports if you need to. Let's go ahead and add a couple title fees so I can show you how that process works. So if I go in here, I'm going to type H for hazard to bring up my hazard reserves. You'll notice that box here is grayed out. You could go ahead and put in your description of how much that reserves would be, like 2 months of hazard reserves might be $400, and you'll see how this is automatically marked as a PPE. If you want to be able to default your percentage for your reserves, you can do that, but we need to do it as a custom fee. The reason for it is if you do add any fees to the loan amount, it is done after you apply it to the loan. So if you use a percentage here, it's going off the base loan amount and has not added any fees into the loan. So that's why we keep it grayed out, to be able to explain that process to you. So now let's go ahead and put in our reserves. So if we I want to go ahead and make a special, a custom description, just say 2 months hazard, reserves. Go ahead and mark it as a prepaid default. A default prepaid, sorry, said that one backwards, and then press OK. So now that is in your custom fees. You have it marked as PPE. So now let's work out this dollar amount. So say our hazard reserves was an annual amount of 0.5%. You would take that figure, divide by 12, and then take that figure, which comes out to 0.042, and times it by 2 for 2 months. The figure I get is 0.083, and then you'll notice once that percentage, the dollar amount will display in this area here. So with that, you'll be able to provide the percentages, and it will automatically calculate that dollar figure for you. Okay, so to repeat that once again, and if you don't get this on the call, please email us at support and we can provide you that description. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to create a one for county taxes. So let's go ahead and add a custom fee. And let's label this one property tax. Remember, we want to go ahead and put in it, default it on the prepaid, and we want to also do that on the property value. I should have done that with my hazard. Also have done that off the property value, and I pressed OK. So now that is in the list. I also can show you when we go into our settings how you can edit these custom fields. So if you did, in my case, I left it on the loan amount opposed to reserves. You can change that easily when you go into settings. So now with our property tax, we're going to just use that 0.5% again for the annual amount. So if you take 0.5% and you divide it by 12, that gives your monthly figure. So in this particular case, it's 0.042, and I'm going to collect 4 months. So I'm going to times it by 4, and the figure I get is 0.167. So let's go ahead and key that in, and you'll see how that dollar figure then will fill out. So again, if we're going through this process, if you want this written down and provided to you, just email us at support@mortgagecoach, and we'll be able to provide you this calculation. As you're going through templates and you created a template and say that the particular loan you're doing doesn't have a fee, that's fine. Pull down your template, and then in this particular case, I want to remove this line item anyhow because it's just an additional one. Press the trash can, and it removes that fee from this particular record, but it does not affect your template. So you'll be able to have your template and then adjust accordingly. You can also add a fee if that particular fee is on this particular product and not on your template. You can go ahead and add a fee. I'm going to add a fee so I can show you how contributions work. So let's go ahead, add a fee, and then down in this drop-down, type in C, and with the contribution, let's go ahead and select that. We have logic behind contribution, and with that, you'd be able to enter the dollar amount as a positive. So say we're going to provide a $1,000 credit. With that, you'll notice that it reduced my borrow amounts by that $1,000, and then you want to identify who's paying that amount. Is it the lender or the seller? So I'm going to say the seller's picking up this, and they're providing a $1,000 credit. Also, if you don't want to use this contribution, I could show you how to create a custom label here, but with that you'll have to use this as a negative because there's no logic in our one that you create yourself. But let's go ahead and do it so I can show you how this process works. So if I add a custom fee, say I want to label this as seller contribution. I could go ahead and do so and then press OK. That is now in my drop-down as well and saved in my list. But what you would have to do when you customize a fee, there's no logic. So you would want to enter this as a negative. So say if I entered it as a negative 250, and then I want to keep it on the borrower. And the reason for that, it's going to go ahead and knock down the borrower's cost by that negative 250. We do have the logic here to keep it all
consistent, positive with seller, or you could create a custom, but you got to remember to keep that as a negative and keep it as a borrower to offset the borrower's fees. You also have the option to be able to take a fee itself and identify who's paying it. So you can do that as well for contributions. Once we're done with our fee template, mine's a little crazy having all the different numbers in here, but what you can do is once you're finished, you see down at the base it says save as a template. Let's go ahead and do that now. So then you could see when you go into our settings at the end, we'll be able to see that template. So I'm going to go ahead and label this fee, and you could identify it as conventional, FHA. In this particular case, I'll do FHA. Any other kind of identifier you could do it. I'm going to go ahead and put in today's date because in my account I already have some fee templates. We want to identify what I created today. So once you identify your product or template name, go ahead and press OK. And now I have saved a fee template. So we'll check out that fee template once we're completed, and you'll notice it's now in my drop-downs. Okay. Once you're done with all your fees, you want to apply it to the loan. So let's go ahead and apply it. And now you'll see that there's fields over here that are grayed out. We gray these fields out. What it has done is taken all the APR fees and totaled them together and placed it here. All non-APR fees, prepaid escrows, and contributions are all placed in this area here. I'm going to go ahead and remove my points right now. I don't want to show points on this particular product. So once we're finished, if you ever need to modify these fees, you'll notice it's grayed out. Just need to go back into the closing cost details and modify your fees accordingly. I'm going to go ahead and cancel here. It's already been applied. So now we're done with our fees and we want to move on. Now we're coming to our monthly costs. With our monthly costs, first we're going to work on mortgage insurance, and this is an FHA loan with 3.5% down. With that, I want to use my percentage field, and let's go ahead and put in that 1.35% for our MI factor. You'll see that it has calculated that figure toward the left. With an FHA loan, they calculate MI on the outstanding balance. So what you want to do is have this box marked. This will go ahead and do that FHA calculation. USDA loans also use this calculation, so go ahead and make sure that box is marked for that. Also with FHA loans, you carry it for the life of the loan until you, unless you're doing loans that are 90% LTV and less, that changes slightly. But for anything greater than 90%, you have to carry MI for the life of the loan. So to do so, put in 360 months in the MI cutoff field. What this does is when it's cutting off MI, it looks at this field first and asks how far does that I have to carry MI. This particular case is same for the life of the loan. On the conventionals, I'll show you how to do this slightly different. In your hazard and your taxes, if you want to be able to estimate those figures, you could do it by a percentage field. And again, these percentage fields are going to be part of our default and will help you get through that product quicker. So let's go ahead and put in our percentages. I'm going to put in 0.35 for our hazard, and for our property tax, I'm going to go ahead and put 1.25. You'll see that it automatically calculated that amount, and when we create our template, these figures will go ahead and put in our default. So let's go ahead and save our first template. So go ahead, press this button, save as template. And it did take the label from our product. So if you want to change this at all, you could go ahead and do so now. You can also do it in our settings. So once you're done with, have done this, press OK, and we have created our first product template. You'll also notice over on the right-hand side, we're displaying our full pity payment because we put in their gross income. You'll see our debt-to-income ratio here, and the property value is providing us our LTV percentage. Now we want to create our conventional product. So let's go ahead now and click on Add Another Product. I want to go ahead and label this one as a conventional, and this one's going to be 5% down. So go ahead and place in your label what you want to call this product. Again, it's not a refinance, so we're not marking that. Let's just check it out. You see my 3.5% purchase template. Just want to be able to show you that here. And then now you have, go ahead and put in $250,000 in our purchase price. And let's use that percentage button and put in that 5%. And this particular loan, I'm doing that 4.75, and our term will be for 360. Again, with our product templates, once we create it, you can, if you are constantly using that 5% down, you can create the template this way, or on conventional loans, just leave it empty. We're not marking it yet for FHA VA, and then when we create the template, our term will carry over. Now let's move to the next screen, and then we have our fees. Because it's brand new and no templates have been pulled, it is empty, just like we had it on our FHA product. I want to go ahead and put in my 15 days of prepaid interest. You'll also notice at the base there's no upfront MI field here. That's because we didn't mark it as yes for FHA loans, so it did not display in this area. Now if we go to our closing cost details, we have our fee templates. What I would like to do is go ahead and select the fee template that you had previously. So this is a way to be able to help you understand pulling the template down, and then you can modify it accordingly so you don't have to do all the work again. So let's go ahead and choose the template you created, and you'll see how that template was brought down. Then at the this point, you will want to go through and update any kind of fees that you have here. My appraisal fee might be more, might be less. Go ahead and identify it. I'm going to put an escrow reserve in here just so I have it. Just identify the different fields. And I know we don't have time to actually create your fee template, but going through the flow of just doing just little fees here and there, it gives you the keystrokes and understanding of that fee template. So once we're done here, just letting you know you can continue modifying them accordingly. Now let's save the template for a new template. So once you're done modifying that template, you can always then save as a new template. So let's go ahead. I'm going to label this one as a conventional, and I'm going to put that date in again. So this way we can identify today's fee template. Once I'm completed, I'm going to press OK. And now I have that conventional 328.14 template as well. Now once we're done, everything's been modified, you want to apply it to the loan. If you come in here, make some changes and realize you didn't want to, just press cancel and it will go ahead and revert it back to how it previously was. So once we're done here, let's apply it to the loan. And now all those figures came and populated the dollar amounts in this area here. Let's move on to our monthly cost screen. And let's key in that 0.35 again. And again, depending on what state you're in, you want to find out what your percentage is for your area. You can really be robust and build out these templates. If you're in a state originating in multiple states, have different percentages, some have different counties, you can create these templates as many as you want to have this information default. So it really depends on you on what you would like to do. So let's go ahead and put in that 1.25. And now for our mortgage insurance, let's go ahead and put in a percentage of 0.97. We do have the MI cutoff set at 78%. So what will happen is once that mortgage insurance, once the loan to value has reached 78%, it will drop from the loan. We're not going to mark the box, calculate MI on balance, because that is for FHA calculations. And if your conventional MI has a minimum period, say 2 years, that they have to have MI, then go ahead and put in that month here. Then the system will look here first to see the minimum time period they have to carry MI, and then look at that 78% cutoff. Now we want to save this as the template, so let's save as. And then we enter the template name. I'm also going to put in today's date here as well for me, just so I'd be able to identify this for my other conventional products. So once you have that, you press OK. Now we have a second template created. What I want to do real quick is just show you one more way of copying a complete file. So if you go ahead and let's add one more product, you can add up to 4 products. And what this will be is I'm going to just show you how to copy a conventional 5% down and just put the word wait in there. And what we do have is scenarios where you could do a cost of waiting, where the first product will be your conventional product or FHA product, and you would copy that exact product to your next product and just increase that interest rate. So it shows them if you get your mortgage today, this is what the rate is. But potentially if you wait, rates could rise, and you're showing them what the amount would be then. So to do this, it's going to be exactly the same as our conventional product. So I want to use this copy from button. If you go in here, it will show your products. And with that, we want to select our conventional 5% down product and then press OK. And you'll see all that information populated over. So it's a really quick way of taking a product you've already created and bringing it into your second product and be able to update it. So let's go ahead and increase this rate to 5.25%. We're going to leave all the rest of the data, the down payment and the term the same, and we're going to move on. Our fees, we're not modifying it because the fee structure as of now is going to stay the same. And our monthly costs are going to stay the same as well. So that's a quick way of just taking a product you've created and copying over, changing the rate, and you have a cost of wait report. So those are the 3 items: templates, product templates, fee templates, and then copying from a product. Those 3 items will be able to get you through and create an edge report rather quickly. Now we're going to move on to our analysis screen here. This is where you want to customize the report for the consumer. In the lower left-hand corner, we have our long-term interest, our long-term section. I'm going to be showing total interest and mortgage insurance paid over that 15-year period. You don't have to show this. This is a lot of times this is what borrowers understand. This is why people show it. But we do have a way of showing them the net worth if you're comparing different loan amounts, different purchase options for them. Also, if they want concerned about principal paid, you'll be able to show that on the report as well. Going up to these 3 fields right here, we have a property appreciation rate. It defaults to 3%. You could put in whatever property appreciation rate is for your area, or you can leave it at 0 and have no appreciation. Short-term, long-term, we defaulted as 60 months in our short-term area. You can go ahead and modify that if you would like, and you can increase it, decrease it. You can go ahead and I'll show you how those loans will change in comparison. So let's go ahead and place it back at 60. And the long term we have set as 15, and again you could go ahead and modify it. So if you're talking to a consumer, they plan to stay in the loan, say 5 years, but they plan to leave by 10, they want to be able to move. You can customize the short and long term to reflect the consumer's goals. So you can go ahead and place that in there. I'm putting it back to 15. We have our benchmark settings. What this will do is do our comparisons. We automatically compare it against the highest cost loan, which is our FHA, but say we want to compare it against our conventional, just choose conventional over here, and now everything is comparing off the conventional. The product we're comparing against will not have a graph in that area on the monthly savings. Let's go ahead and put it back on the highest default. When you're doing a refinance, you want to come in here and modify these benchmarks to reflect the current mortgage. And lastly on the screen, we're going to go ahead and adjust reinvestment strategy. I'm not going to go into much detail on this. We do have a video tutorial that will go through this process a lot more slower and then be able to provide you a lot more strategies. If you want to add additional principal to that amount, you could go ahead and say if I put in that savings of $82.30, you could go ahead and put that amount in. And you'll see that the freedom point, it went from 30 years down to 26.25 years. You can also, if you remove that, you could see that the MI cutoff month is 115. So if you want to reinvest that mortgage insurance, you could go ahead and double click on here and we're able to reinvest at a certain time period, as well as providing lump sum periods. So right here you can see the MI cutoff is at 115, and then 191 is the amount. So you could click on here, put in 115, put in 191.98, and then at that point it will reinvest the MI for the remainder of the loan. You can also use the add and delete buttons to modify this, but I'm just going to press OK for now. You want to learn more about adding the custom fees, lump sums. We do have the video tutorial. I'll show you at the end where you can access that. We also have an area where you can apply savings to their investment account as well as the savings account, and you'll see this is where that $20,000 carried over when I keyed it into that savings balance in the affordability screen. I'm going to press OK now. And we're going to move to our next screen. So we're completed our analysis summary. Contact information. We do not email out anything. It's a data capturing field, so go ahead if you want to keep that in here, put that. If you have a co-borrower's name, add that information as well, and it will appear on the report. If you have a property address, key it in. Otherwise, just go ahead and put in to be determined. I am doing a purchase. You can also leave it empty and nothing will display on the report. In our presentation screen here, we're doing a total cost analysis. We do have the option to do a seller buy down. If you want to see an amortization schedule, you have the option here, as well as exporting the data in a Fannie Mae export. If for some reason you don't want to show a product, if we uncheck that box, that product will not show on the report. So I'm going to go ahead and keep that unmarked so I can show you how that works. Only the FHA and our first conventional product will display. Now we have our payment notes section here. In our payment notes, this is a compliance piece. So what you would want to be able to do is either you can just type in estimated taxes and insurance are included, is usually what I like to be able to put, estimated taxes. Okay, so if, just type in some information on that. Some people put are or are not included. You can go ahead and get that defaulted. If you're working on an enterprise, if you're on an enterprise site license, they might also have this information defaulted for you. And I neglected to mention, you might have some fee templates as well as if you're on an enterprise account. So with those payment notes, I'll show you on the report where the displays and what this process does. So moving on, these next three screens is just to be able to modify the data in the More Info button. You can keep advancing the screen, or you could take your mouse, hover it over presentation. If you go directly up to preview, it takes you to the last screen. I'm going to advance through each one, and that takes me to the last screen here. So now coming through it, we're going to email a link. We do have an option to print and save, but I like doing everything from my email link. So I'll show you how to do those functions through here. This box here is going to provide you your email alert, so make sure you have that one marked. Enable call, this is providing our click-to-call feature on our report. Because I keyed in an email into my partner section, I want to go ahead and mark that as well. You want to put in a quote date, so if you click on that, go ahead and select today's date, and that will appear on the report as well. So now let's go ahead and check out our report. So if you click on preview, you'll see the report, how it displays, and what the consumer is going to be seeing. So once you have your report up, let's go ahead and do some highlighting. Let me show you how that process works. So if you hover over a field, if you left click, it will highlight your data. So if you wanted to show the APR, you could go ahead and do that. Say you want to do the cash to close and point that out, do that as well. If you want a particular product, just go to the title and it will go ahead and highlight that whole column. So it's just the left clicking I'm doing that will allow you to do that. I am also going to go to the base. You see that clear all button? If you press that, it will go ahead and remove all your highlights and you can start again. That's a great way of just highlighting and be able to do clear all. Especially once you start using Edge Live, you're talking to the consumer, want to clear it out, great button to use. So you want to be able to highlight what you want to direct the clients to. If it's the cash to close, highlight those fields. Now going into our More Info button. In our Summary section, we have our payment breakdown, so you'll be able to see the hazard insurance, mortgage insurance, and your property tax, as well as your full payment here. If we move to our Closing Costs tab, you'll see your down payment that's required, the loan-to-value percentage on the loan, and again, your fees are listed here. Click on the fee details, and you'll be able to see the itemized fees as well. Now moving to our Reinvestment Strategy screen, you'll see that we have the word Custom here. If you click on it, you'll see that at the 115th month, they're going to go ahead and have $191.98 being applied to that loan, or to that principal amount. You can also highlight in here as well. You could highlight the freedom point so they'll be able to see that. And definitely if you're using these fields, highlight it because it draws their attention to what you've been doing on that product. I'm going to go ahead and close out the details. And now let's go to our monthly payment savings. In our monthly payment savings, it will go ahead and provide your details for that payment. If you're doing a second lien, it will go ahead and provide that information below as well. Here's where the property appreciation rate of 3% displays, and if you had a tax bracket, it would display here as well. You'll notice the payment notes that we keyed in. They're right below our summary section. You'll see the double asterisk, and you'll also see the double asterisk next to the payment. So it's an area where it tells them that rather quickly that their taxes and insurance are included. Let me go to these two buttons right here. You have your payment stream buttons. These are really great. I use them when working in support to be able to see if your FHA MI is done correctly. If you click on that button, you'll be able to see that the MI is being carried through the life of the loan. It's a real quick way to see if it's you remember to have that information clicked in. You'll see on the conventional products that it's just a standard conventional MI and it's not carried to the life of the loan. Now let's move to our savings, our short-term savings. In this area, what we're showing are the savings of the unrecoverable costs. It's not 82 times 60, but let's actually go see what those numbers comprised of. We take the interest and mortgage insurance over that 60-month period, and those are the totals for those two products. We then go ahead and add the closing costs in that area and then develop our totals. Once we have our totals, we then do comparison, and that is our savings for our short-term area right here. Now in the long-term area, interest at MI, if you click on, it will show you really quick through the graphs how much that amount is. And if you click on the More Info button, here's where the property appreciation will display that 3%. It increased that home value right here. It also provides you the loan balance at the end of that 15-year term. That's a nice feature to be able to have to show them how much is due at that time. You'll also see how much total reduction in principal that they've applied to the loan with that added MI that we reinvested. And then again, how much total principal that they paid. If you go down to the right-hand corner, we have a share button. This is a quick way if you're in the report to grab that link if you needed to. If you had a question on the report, wanted to email us at support, always include that link so we'd be able to see the numbers. We then could go into the More Info buttons on your report, check out payment streams. We could do a lot with that link. So when you email us at support, provide us that link and we'll be able to view your report. You want to print a hard copy, not only you have access to that button, but the consumer has an access to the button as well to be able to print that product, as well as our disclaimers. And lastly, there's a save, so if you go ahead and use that button, you can also save your data as a PDF. Yes, Amy, I'll go ahead and repeat where the link is in just a moment. So you have those areas. Also, if you need to modify disclaimer language here, we do have that in our report settings, in our settings area in Edge. And we also have this More button here. And what that More button will do is provide you more area for disclaimer language. And if you need to put any kind of additional licensing information, you could do it in this area. And I'll show you when we go into our settings where you can go ahead and update that information. Again, that's more for compliance reasons, and you could go ahead and update that data. For the link the share button at the bottom right-hand corner. That provides the link, and I'll also show you shortly how you actually generate that link from our preview screen. Last item I want to be able to show you is our Call Me Now feature. This is the click to call feature that is a lead capture. Because of the time, I'm not going to go into this in more detail, but we do have a video tutorial that explains this process for the click to call feature. Now going back into our Edge account, we also have a button here to generate the link. You always want to be able to click on that first. This generates the link that we had saw. You would copy and paste that link, and this is what you paste into your email to send to the borrower. So you want to go ahead and copy and paste that link into your email. And I want to show you how to add a video now. So if you go ahead and click on Add Audio or Video, the preview screen will come up. And I also want to notice, did you notice there's the two products? Our third product we created was removed because we unchecked that box. So now going back to the video, see in the lower left-hand corner, there's a record message button. What that will do is go ahead and bring up your video recording. You want to go ahead and press allow. Let's allow it. And hi everyone, I'm Lori. What you want to do here is to be able to provide a message to your consumer, and what's great is providing this message here, if they pass the report, say the husband viewed this, you could pass it to the wife. They both are getting the exact same message. So it also reinforces, so if you're using the phone, the message sometimes doesn't get complete. So it's a great way to use the video. If you right click on it, you get to your settings. And sometimes if the camera doesn't come up, come in here and look in your drop down and select your camera. Same with the microphone, you have that option here. Okay, so now once we're done, you have your recording button, your play button. You can even pause it when you're recording, and the stop button. If you want to remove this fully from your screen, just go ahead and press that trash can and it will take that video and remove it. If you're not comfortable yet with the video, you can always do an audio, and what that will do is record an audio, and you definitely want to be able to provide this, at least an audio, and get that message to the consumer so they can hear it. Okay, let's go back to Edge, and that was our audio. That share button that was on the report is also in this area here, and it includes the link as well. Now we've created the report, and you have a report to be able to send to the client. What I'd like you to do is, when you do the preview or generate link, if you can, go ahead and take that link. I got the long link here, sorry. Let's go back into our generate link. Go ahead and take that link and place it in the question box for me. If you'd like us to review it, go ahead and put it in the question box, and we'll be able to get back with you. It'd be great to be able to see what you've created, to also be able to see how we can modify our training to make it more for our members. Lastly, once we're done, I want to go into our settings real quick, and let's show you how you can take those product and fee templates and do a quick copy and develop all the remaining templates you have. What we have done is come into our contact information. You can go ahead and fill it out your information, make sure it's complete. You have your branch address. When you put in your licensing number, make sure you put an identifier in front of it, so that way on the report it will have the full identification of what that license is. Once you go ahead and put in your phone numbers, and always when you make a change, press save. Come to images. You want to upload your image, upload your logo, and now let's come to our fee templates. So here's our fee templates we created, and you'll be able to see them here. So say if we, now that appraisal fee has increased, so you could go ahead and update your templates accordingly if your fees change. What you can also do is a copy. You see Save As button at the base. What that will do is take the template you're currently in, and now you can create a template for another product. Once you have done that, you press OK. It takes that data you had, and now you could go ahead and remove items, add items, use your buttons here, and develop that new template. So this is a really quick way of doing a copy and just modifying it accordingly. And there's no limit, so if you have multiple types of fee templates you want to see, go ahead and create all of them and just use that copy save as button here, and it will just go quickly. If you want to start a new fee template, just press do. And if you want to remove any, you have the delete button. What the fee button over here does is allow you to modify any of those descriptions that you had for the custom fees. Also, if you wanted to change it, if it was an APR or if it was and you forgot to mark it, you can go ahead and modify that information in this area here. If I go into my hazard insurance reserves, you also have the option to go ahead and change the percentage as well. Now going into our product templates, you'll be able to see your product templates here, and then you can go ahead and create additional product templates. Okay, before I go into here, let me go back to our fee templates. I had a question about doing a copy again. So if you have a product template already created, just select whichever one you want to do as a copy. Once you have that template set up, toward the left-hand corner, press Save As. That's your copy fee template. So press Save As and name it your new template. Once you have done that, you'll have a new template created, and let's press OK. So now you have that template, and it looks exactly like our conventional fee purchase template that we copied from. At this point, you could go ahead and modify and update your figures, delete any fees that aren't on that fee template, and modify any of the figures. So that's the quick way of copying, Teresa. Going to product templates, let's go ahead and check out my FHA 3.5% down. Actually, this is the one I created. You'll see, let's bring up our, okay, that's an edge alert. So you'll see that it pulled in the upfront MI. So you have that defaulted now, and it's included to my loan amount. You also have our monthly cost. You'll be able to see how we have all that. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to go ahead and put that 0.35 in and remove that dollar amount. It will come into the system and recalculate based on the loan amount, but I like to be able to see some empties in this area. 1.35. So just set all your numbers that you want to be able to automatically calculate for you. Put in those percentages. You'll see that we already have our MI calculated on balance and our 360 defaulted. So that's perfect. So let's go ahead and save that. And you'll see that because we saved that template, you can take your closing cost templates and merge it with your product templates. And by doing so, it will speed up that process when you're doing data input. So I'm going to go ahead and keep it here. If you don't want that in here and you're doing multiple states and rather not have it and use the fee drop-down, you would just remove it by that trash can and then say apply to template. If you want to add additional fee because that particular product had additional fee, you could go ahead and keep modifying, adding and deleting fees as well in this product template. Once you're done, you would just apply to template. So now with our template, we included our fees and our monthly costs. Going to the top, it defaulted us with yes as FHA. I'm keeping my down payment. I'm keeping my 15 days per diem interest. And it's up to you if you want to keep the interest rate in here. You can always override it when you come into Edge and pull down the template, but because this field is usually variable for me, I do not want to be able to have that template here. You'll see our conventional template that we created on our monthly costs. It's up to you if you want to keep that 0.97 in there or whatever factor you might have. That might be variable, and it might be something you want to actually leave empty and just key in Edge. So it's up to you on that one. So I'm just going to clear these out again and put in my 0.35 and my 1.25, and we're set. So now, to be able to show you, I'm starting a new report. I just want to show you how important those fees and product templates are on how fast you'll be able to move through in creating a product. So if I click on New Client, and I'm just going to go into my products. Let's go into my product defaults, and you'll see the two products I have created here. So I'm going to go ahead and select my 3.5% down, and because I didn't put in my property appraisal, I'm going to go ahead and key that in now. You see how it defaulted yes, 3.5%, and my term. So now all I have to do is key in my interest rate. Advance to the screen, you'll see how your upfront MI calculated, and if you need any modifications, go to the closing cost details and modify the fees accordingly for that product. I'm pressing cancel, and now let's go to our monthly cost screen, and it's all completed by having those product templates created. So it's very important that you do that so you can move through and create these edge reports rather quickly. Moving back to my settings, I also want to point out our report template tab. This is where you update that disclaimer text at the bottom. We do have font reduction. If you do modify this area, make sure when you look at the report, it all displays accordingly here. Also, check it on the print copy. Make sure it's all displaying correctly here as well. If you need any assistance with that, if it's you're having too long of text, just email us the support. We can assist you with this. You also have that extended disclaimer area right here where you can add additional disclaimer language. Now just one other thing, let's click on the help button. I know the screen wasn't showing before. Okay, here's the help button again. We have all the different various reports. This is the video for that reinvestment strategy. If you want to be able to show it, this is how our videos work. It'll provide you information about how to work on that product. And we got Jacob there. Okay. View all button here. You'll be able to see all your reports that you've created. You can click on that left arrow. You can then highlight it. You can copy that analysis if you want to, so you don't have to enter the product again. If it's the same client, you keep it there and it'll copy all that contact information. If you have a new client and you like the products from a previous one, just click on new and it will copy all your products over. Again, if you want more information on that, just go ahead and email us at support and we'll be able to help you. Well, that concludes our EDGE training for today. I do have a couple links. If you want us to review it, please go ahead and take that link and place it into the question and we'll review your report. As you're working with EDGE, if you have any kind of questions, go ahead and email us at support@mortgagecoach.com and we'll be happy to assist you with this. Thank you and enjoy your day.